Hello guys, so to start this video I wanted to give a quick thank you to the brand Princesswig for sending me this wig to try out and review for you guys. This one is their Amanda Pink Wave Bob synthetic lace front, and I absolutely love the color and the style. I didn't have anything like this in my collection before, so I had to go with this one. The hairline of the wig looks really nice and natural, and then when we turn it inside out, we have one comb behind the lace in the front and then one on each side to help hold the wig in place. I do wish that it had a comb in the back as well, but it does have the little clips on each side so you can adjust the cap according to the size of your head. It also has a nice stretchy lacy mesh cap, which I really like. If you're looking for a good quality but more affordable lace front wig for either your Halloween costume or just to add to your collection, I would definitely check these guys out, and if you want to, you can also use the code Courtney10 to save 10% on their website, which I will have linked down below for you guys. Now, I talked you guys through how I put my wigs on in the previous video, but just to recap, I put the wig cap on like I would an elastic headband, pulling it down over my head, then back up to the hairline, stretching the back of the cap down as far as it goes, and then swirling and tucking my hair into the cap. Then I just use my hands to press over and kind of smooth and even everything out. I hold the front of the wig in place as I secure the back, then reline up the front and secure using those 3 combs. You can of course adhere the hairline down if you want or need to, but since I'm just wearing this for the video shoot in studio and the hairline does fit me pretty dang perfectly, I am just leaving it as it is. Getting into the makeup, I'm going in with a warm medium brown eyeshadow and a rusty orange shade and applying those starting at the inner part of the lids using a fluffy blending brush, blending up into the brow and lightly onto the rest of the lid up about to the crease, building that color up until I'm happy with it. I'm blending and smudging it up a bit past the inner part of the brows and applying those same colors along the lower lash line as well. I'm using the same fluffy brush for this, again blending and smudging it down a little bit. Also wanted to mention that I just have a bit of concealer, powder, and contour on as a base, but you can totally apply foundation or whatever other kind of base that you want to if you want more of a porcelain doll-like kind of flawless finish. I then added a bit of a darker brown eyeshadow, focusing that the most at the inner part of the lid, but again blending it out into the lighter shades. I'm using my finger to smudge the shadows up above the inner part of the brow a bit more and then blending that darker brown lightly along the lower lash line and blending up onto the outer corners a bit as well. Now I'm going in with a small fluffy blending brush to add more smudging under the eyes. I then applied a foiled copper eyeshadow to the center of the mobile lid using my finger and then blended it out into the brown, but we can kind of just skip over that because I ended up putting a ton of darker shades over top. So in the end you couldn't really see it, but anyway. Now I'm going in with an orangey red blush and blending that onto the apples of the cheeks. This was a lot more pigmented than I had planned, but I just continued to blend, and I also wiped my brush off on a towel as I was blending to help soften that color. I applied a little bit of that to the tip of my nose as well. I then lined my waterline top and bottom with a black eyeliner and used a small smudge brush to help blend and smudge it out before it set in place. And then I packed a black eyeshadow onto the lower waterline to help set that liner even further, again blending it out. And I did this along the top lash line as well. Sticking with that small smudge brush and the leftover black eyeshadow on it, I'm creating more of a smudged texture, mainly around the inner part of the lower lash line and outer corner of the top. To lighten my brows just a bit, I'm using a medium to full coverage concealer cream that's similar to my skin tone, maybe a little bit warmer, and I'm applying that with a clean mascara wand, brushing the hairs in all different directions to try and coat all of the hairs as best as I can, and then I'm setting that with a translucent powder. I then decided I wanted to add the color back to the inner part of the brows, so I'm going back in with the brown and orange eyeshadows to do that. And I also decided to blend one side up much further than the other. Most of this look I wanted pretty disheveled, so feel free to do as much or as little as you want to and even customize the colors. Then I just curled my lashes and applied a black mascara to top and bottom. For the cracks, I'm starting by marking everything out with a black eyeshadow on a small detail brush. And you could also use a brown eyeshadow for this. I'm just starting with the eyeshadow just in case I don't like what I end up doing. The eyeshadow will blend or wipe away a lot easier than the liquid liner that I'm using to define the cracks with. I'm starting out lightly and building up color as I go, and you can create any kind of cracking design that you want to, but I decided to keep it pretty simple. I'm creating a few bigger holes that then have other cracks coming off of them, and I'm trying to find a good balance between wavy and sharp lines and edges. Once I'm happy with the basic design, I'm gently blending along those lines with my small fluffy brush to just slightly soften them, and this is going to help give just a bit of dimension to the cracks and broken areas. I decided I wanted this top section to appear as if it was sitting underneath everything else, so I shaded up from that line using the black and brown eyeshadows, focusing the darkest shadows at the corners or edges of the piece, and I'm not shading any more down from that dividing line. Now I'm going in with a black liquid liner to define all the details of the cracks, and I use my other hand and balance it on my jawline to help steady my working hand. I'm varying the pressure I'm putting on the liner to create thicker lines in some spots and thinner in others, keeping the ends of any cracks super fine. Since we blended along our lines earlier, we should have nice little shadows around each of the cracks, and here you can start to see how that helps bring them to life a bit more. As I'm lining, I'm also adding in other cracks and details where I feel like they're needed, and I went back in with the black eyeshadow to deepen the shadows on that top area, then popped in my black Sclera into my right eye only and continued on shading that top piece. Once I had that Sclera in, I could see that I wanted to change the broken piece on the eye a bit. So I kept my eye open so I could see where I wanted to black out, and then marked a guide and filled in with the liquid liner. As with everything, don't be afraid to modify your design as you go if you think you might like something else a bit more. I added more smaller cracks and then shaded some areas I wanted to look a bit more recessed, and then went in with a white eyeshadow to highlight areas along the edges of the cracks to make them appear more raised. Again, helping to add more dimension so the lines don't just look flat. This eyeshadow ended up giving a nice subtle highlight, but feel free to use something more pigmented if you want a more drastic highlight. I'm applying this the most along that bottom edge of the top piece to help contrast those shadows, but you want to add these wherever you want that area to pop. I also highlighted my face a little with this white eyeshadow down the bridge of my nose and onto the forehead, on the chin, and down the neck, and onto the cheekbones. Then I decided to contour along my jawline as well. For the lips, I'm first applying a deep red liquid lipstick, overlining my top lip and using a small detail brush to line out from the corners into a slight smile. I then applied a little bit more of the lipstick and used my finger to blend along the lip line to give it a softer, more diffused look, and I also darkened those little smile lines. I then applied some separated false lashes to just the lower lash line, and then went over top of the now dry liquid lipstick with a shimmery glossy red lipstick in random areas on the upper and lower lips. And oh my goodness gracious, like, look at that shine. I really love how these lips turned out. Then I put my wig on and we are all set. So thank you again to Princesswig for sending over this wig to try, and thank you guys for watching and for your patience. I've been working crazy on Halloween stuff, and I hope that it'll be worth it, and I hope that you will enjoy it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're ready for October, and I will see you in the next one.